Yeah.
Hello and welcome back to the European Championships 2018. Matt's ready to go, aren't you, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be another interesting match. We have Usman, and he's going to be facing off against Maximilian Kempe. Or is it Kempe?
Kempe, yeah. Kempe.
Kempe. So Usman, you may have saw playing in the UK Nationals. He was playing Spirals.
Yeah.
He's decided to bring that again this weekend. He's currently 3-0.
Yeah, both of these guys 3-0 at the moment. We're trying to pick from the top, but also take some interesting decks.
Yeah, and Maximilian, he's going to be playing Gem Knight FTK.
Yeah, I didn't pick that on purpose. I just saw that Usman was... No, I didn't.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely. You're like, ooh, really feeling this FTK format. And then you're
I
like,
love
all right.
I love FTKs. Matt knows this.
Luke will play every underhanded FTK he can possibly get his hands on. I keep getting tired of it. Well, when can I have Junk Collector so I can play Magical Explosion?
What can I say? I mean, whenever there's an opportunity for... okay, let me explain the logic to you. So whenever my opponent doesn't get to play, then I don't have to fear how good they are. It's a little bit of an insecurity, to be honest, Matt.
So your safety blanket is winning before they draw their first card?
Yeah. Or just taking away all their starting cards. That's one of my favourite ones.
Oh, what, with like a various Trishula loops or something?
Yeah, Trishula.
You're just a really bad man.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
What can I say? So, well, we're going to maybe see that happen. So, do you want to explain a little bit about the Gem Knight FTK? I know we saw it during the UK Nationals.
Sure. So, essentially the idea is that you are... I'm trying to remember which one it says.
I think it's Master Diamond.
Master Diamond.
He's like unsummonable, really.
Yeah, so you essentially have one of them has like a burn effect that you do a ton of direct damage to.
Yeah.
And then you're essentially copying that effect.
Yeah, with Lady Lapis Lazuli, yeah.
Yeah, Lapis Lazuli gets a copy the effect, so you copy Master Diamond and burn your opponent for an extraordinary amount of damage.
Yeah. So
your whole deck is essentially set up to burn your opponent out on the first turn.
Yeah, his effect is amazing because he's pretty much unsummonable with, reasonable amount of cards. So you just dump him in the graveyard and then copy his effect with another one of the Gem Knights.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that goes off against Spiral, because we know Spiral, I actually had a good chat with Usman yesterday, and essentially all he needs to open with is one of his dump cards, or essentially one of his Foolish Burials, and any revival card, and he just said his whole combo goes off.
Yeah.
So he's got a huge number of 2-card combos that just push out a ridiculous field.
Yeah.
And that ends up being a Sleeper Agent, which clears away cards with Last Resort on there, and that's going to make it really difficult for Maximilian to set up. So dice roll, whenever there's an FTK involved, always very, very important on the match. What about the stats of the players, Luke? What are we looking at?
Yeah, so Usman Mannan is sitting at currently a 60% win rate with 10 tournaments. So that's pretty good.
Well, yeah, that's reasonable. It's better than what the system's trying to pair him at.
Yeah, something to consider as well is that Usman usually plays something quite off the wall. So to have such a great win rate with just you playing the decks that you really love is usually very good.
Yeah, it gives you that sense of satisfaction when you win with your own brew, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. And Max Kempe here, he's only played in a very small number of tournaments, so it's hard to say that his statistics are going to be representative, to be honest. But yeah, he's sporting over a 50% win rate, so again, that's better than what the system's trying to pair him at.
Sure.
What can I say? He's XO at the moment here, so...
Yeah, so the deck's clearly working.
Yeah.
I bet all the Americans that are watching are like, ha! Glad our WCQ was first. I don't want to see some Gem Knight shenanigans at our events.
Yeah. That's always a big thing, isn't it, for us? That we those sometimes switch around. Or is it always one way?
We switched the dates. So sometimes the EU WCQ is before the NA one.
Yeah,
and sometimes
in Dublin it was, right?
Yeah, sometimes
were
we're after. But you can see the impact that the first event has on the second.
Yeah.
Europe always seems to go the complete opposite direction to North America. So it's like, oh yeah, the best deck is absolutely without a doubt Necros. Everyone's going to be on Necros.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't the best deck, but it won the event.
Yeah, it won the event, yeah, with Edo Marcus, who's actually here spotting the national champion flag yet again.
Oh, for Israel?
Yeah, for Israel, yeah. It's actually a really cool story behind that that we can bring up now. So, yeah, he basically didn't have a deck to play for the national championships.
Yeah, I know where this is going.
I'm pretty sure I told you the story, but for the viewers at home, so there's a guy called Marom. He's a really nice guy, one of the great members of the Israeli community, and he basically said to Ido, okay, don't worry, Ido, I have a second copy of the deck that I'm going to play at the national championships, so you can give it a try. Now, Marom has lost in the finals to his brother. I forget his brother's name. Very sorry. Many times already. So he's really always been the bridesmaid, never the bride. And this was his chance. It was his own deck. He was playing in the finals against Ido, and Ido beat him with his own deck.
Get wrecked.
Yeah, it was pretty unfortunate. But Maram and Ido are here together. Anyway.
I think Ido's. I saw him last night, and he got his deck FedEx to him. This event. So he just shows up with a FedEx box. He's like, "What's that? It's my deck for the weekend." It's like, "Oh, so you came prepared then?"
Yeah.
I got here before my deck. It's fine.
Yeah, he had a friend in the US who had the deck that he wanted to play, so he just got him to ship it to him, which is pretty cool.
But you know, he's not actually involved in this match. We should be focusing on.
We absolutely should be. We started talking about national champions, but that is the name of the game here at the European Championships. It's all about those national champion winners who managed to make it and got the free trip here. But speaking of free trips, these guys are still looking for that coveted title of the European champion, which comes with that trip to Tokyo.
That's extremely big stage to play on. I got to see it last year, and not only was it actually big, but the players nearly fell off of it. They said there was a really stacked lineup. You had like Joshua Smith, Marcello Barberi, Michael Forner. Yeah, that's just from Europe. That's not counting like Billy Brake, Aaron Furman from the United States.
Some really great players.
And we had repeat Japanese players as well. Yep. It was really, really difficult tournament.
Yeah, well, let's see if these guys can make it with all of those stars that Matt just mentioned. Let's head on over to our commentators, Oliver Gurman and Thomas Rose.
Well, thank you, guys. We are, of course, excited about that match. We can quickly take a look at the match record in this tournament of Usman Mannan. So we can see how he ended up in this 3-0 position that he is in right now. Alfie Morton in the first round, he was playing an unknown deck, so we're not quite sure what he was playing. Seems like one of the rogue decks, I guess.
It may not have been loaded into the stats tool yet, but we don't have the data.
Yeah, we got like entered all of them except for 50, and the judges were like, okay, we're calling it a day now. We ended like 1,500 something deck list. It's fine. Christopher Brunner from Germany, second round, lost with True Draco. Then he beat Altergeist, and now it's Gem Knight. Talk about a wide, diverse field for the opponents of Usman Mannan.
And he hasn't yet played against the Trickstar Sky Striker deck that we're expecting to see most of. So he's really been testing out his waters against the rogue matchups. But
yeah, and when I asked those two guys prior to the match, you're both undefeated, and Max Kempe was actually laughing. He was like, yeah, haha. So he didn't seem like he was expecting to go undefeated at the European Championship.
Well, it's only round 4. It's still early doors. You can go 3-0 and then go 3-3, and you can't make the top cut.
Right. So let's take you guys to the table and get our game on with Usman Mannan and Max Kempe from Germany. So... there we go. Here's the handshake. Usman on the left, Max on the right.
As ever, it will be interesting to see who's won the die roll here, because both decks have huge potential going first, but can struggle if they do not get to go first. Usman has an Ash Blossom certainly in his hand, so he'll have some protection even if he didn't win the die roll. But I don't know if there are any hand traps in hand for Max on the right.
And just quickly looking at the player match history of Max Kempe, he faced Duong Huang Nguyen in the first round, who was playing True Draco. Then he beat Lucas Grimm and his Sky Striker Trickstar deck in round 2. And in round 3 he won against Samuel Bebooks and World Chalice. So for him, the same as can be said. He's also went up against a couple of very different decks.
Both a lot of rogue. And Max has opened with a dreadful hand here. Even if he did win the die roll, he has absolutely nothing. I think yes, Max won the die roll and just ended his turn.
Right. And you could see it on his face. Like, he looked at his hand and he was like letting out a sigh. He was like, poof, that is rough.
We will likely see the Gamma being used to negate the effect of Spiral Double Helix, but unless Max draws a very strong spell card for his turn, there's just nothing that's getting him back from a hand with effectively triple Garnet.
Right. And he even decides not to go with Gamma here, is that correct?
Yes. You would never want to Gamma the quick fix. Usman would simply discard a card to summon it back to the field and then summon the double helix. The Gamma will be saved for this activation.
Right. So, correct play here?
It's arguable. It was certainly correct to use the Gamma there. It's arguable that Usman might have even considered using an Ash Blossom just to keep the Gamma in hand and resolve his double helix.
Right.
Obviously, that's throwing away an Ash Blossom for allowing your opponent to keep their Cyframe Gate Gamma, but sometimes it can be correct if you really need to push through one specific effect.
I think if Usman had perfect knowledge like we have, and he knew that the hand of Maximilian Kempe is all but alive, he might have just gone for it here. He might have just decided to, okay, I can't push through this because there's nothing coming afterwards. There's no way to fight back for my opponent, at least so far. And but I guess he's playing it safe. Bit more conservative approach here.
I think the Usman has definitely made the correct play by not using the Ash Blossom there. It's such a huge risk, and you should only make that sort of play if it's a very simplified game state, or if you know that you can push for lethal damage. So by saving the Ash Blossom, he has a safety net in case Max does draw a card that makes his hand live again. There's no reason for Usman to make any risky move here.
It's one of those silver bullets that you need to save for the right moment. You just don't drop Ash Blossoms like there's no tomorrow. You wait for the right time.
Yeah, and Usman here is just playing his cards very sensibly. He doesn't need to make any silly plays. He doesn't need to be greedy with anything. He knows that his opponent has a bad hand, so he's just going to go through the motions, do things very simply, end with a strong board with the sleeper, put some damage up.
Right.
He has the last resort. It would take a very good hand from Max to play through even just this simple board from Usman, and we know for a fact that Max doesn't have a very good hand because he would have made some sort of a play turn 1.
So what is the role that SPYRAL is fitting in basically in this current environment? Because we haven't seen the deck in a while. It used to be a top contender. So what happened in between, and why is it back now? Why is it good again?
It's okay now with the addition of the Nightmare cards.
Here was the Ash Blossom on a reasoning. And that seems like a right decision, right?
Yes, we could be fairly sure that that was the card that was drawn for turn, because it would have been activated last turn if Max had it. So Usman knows this is the only new threat, and I will use my Ash Blossom. Plays it perfectly.
Masterful execution from Usman Mannan, so not that surprising. Interestingly enough, we picked him and he was at 2-0. We said we want to feature SPYRAL no matter what, unless he's playing against somebody who we already featured, for example, like one of those very unlikely cases. And then we ended up with this matchup with Gem Knight FTK against SPYRAL, which sounds like too good a script to not turn into a movie, basically. That's what we thought, and then we said, get the cameras rolling, we're doing this.
Yeah, I haven't had much experience either with or against Gem Knight FTK. It's not a deck I've ever played myself, and I'm not sure that I've even played against it. I understand that it was a lot more effective before the most recent Forbidden Limited list, but it's a bit of an unknown competitor to me. I know some of the cards involved, but I don't know the full combos.
Right, but then again, you now have the element of surprise going for you, because few people are going to be expecting it. And I think I cut you off when you were talking about SPYRAL, right?
Yes.
Sorry.
So the Nightmare monsters that we've seen recently sort of bring SPYRAL back into contention. We don't see it huge in the same way that it was before, because it fills a similar role in the format to Gouki, but most people reckon that Gouki just does a better job of it. So why would you play knockoff Gouki when you can play regular Gouki?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to go with the original. Well, so what is the difference with SPYRAL?
Well, SPYRAL doesn't have such big extra link plays, but they do have access to Sleeper Last Resort, which can bring one-off interaction in your opponent's turn rather than floodgate interaction through the extra link.
All right.
They do still have the ability to perform an extra link, but it's not such a trivial thing as we see from Gouki players just searching 100 cards and summoning as many link monsters as they please.
I guess another advantage could be that the plays don't take as long, which sometimes can be game deciding. That might be something that people take into account. And then, of course, there are other factors like players saying, I prefer SPYRAL, I just enjoy playing the deck more. Or I own all the cards already, whereas I would have to first get my hands on all of those Gouki cards, so I'm just going to go with what I have.
SPYRAL is certainly much cheaper to assemble. There's less demand for SPYRAL cards at the moment, and through the use of SPYRAL Tough, they have the ability to break back into some boards that Gouki doesn't naturally have that ability before they go to their extra deck through the Nightmare Link monsters.
I have to point out that it seems like Maximilian is having the time of his life, regardless of how this game is going. He just seems to be one of those guys that's really happy to be in the feature match area in the first place.
Yeah, it's great fun.
Yeah.
Like if you're the sort of person that where the pressure doesn't get to you, then being up on the stage, showing off your deck to everyone on the stream, it's really enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah, and he seems to fall into that category. All right, we also see a token, by the way, for Usman. We have the token machine ready this weekend, and he took a picture together with some of his friends to have his very own token for this event and all the other events to come in the future.
It looks like Max has opened with a much stronger hand this time. He uses Drag Down to the Grave to check for hand traps and finds one, and then he has all of his spells set ready to go after taking out the Infinite Impermanence.
So this is going to be the opportunity that Max Kempe has been waiting for.
Yep. He knows at this point that unless Usman has drawn into another hand trap, his plays will all resolve unhindered. And
that another card was Spiral Gear Big Red, so that means Usman is now forced to watch in awe what the Gem Knight FTK deck is going to be able to do.
Yeah, we've got lots of time on the clock, so I think Usman might just let it play out here. I've obviously never seen this come through, so I'm a little bit curious to see just what stages they go through to get this FTK.
Although I do have a feeling that Usman has at least a faint idea of how the deck is working, because he seems to be oh no, okay, he's reading the cards. But at first it seemed like he was like, okay, let's just go for this. I mean, it's a learning experience. Even if he can somehow manage to beat Max here somewhat easily, maybe in the third game, we don't know. A bit too early to tell.
Oh, we know. This is going to the third game. Max has already won this game, unless his technical play is lacking.
Okay, sorry. I thought you meant we know that Usman is going to win the third game.
Oh, sorry, no.
I thought you were throwing Max under the bus before the bus has even left the station.
No, I'm simply saying that I am absolutely certain that Max will have won this game at this point.
Right.
He seems to have all of his combo pieces available to him, so
yeah.
Unless I've completely misunderstood how the Gem FTK deck plays through, I think we're not going to the next phase.
Okay. I wouldn't say he's got the best poker face. He seems to be excited throughout the entire time that he's sitting in the feature match area. So as an opponent, that must be really awkward because you're not sure, is he at the moment just happy that he gets to play in the feature match area, or is he happy because he knows that he's just won the game here?
Well, he seemed happy even before any of that.
Yeah, maybe he's just a naturally happy person, regardless of whether the camera is rolling or not. Which would be nice. We need those guys.
But I mean, even Usman on the other side of the table, he's probably pretty sure that he's getting FTK'd right now, and he seems to have a smile about him.
Well, we're not sure. We're not sure if he knows what's happening here. I think he has an idea that this is what might be happening right now. All right. Anyway, what I was hinting at was that even if Usman somehow, even if he loses this and then turns it around, it's going to be an advantage later on in the tournament to know how this deck works. Just so you know when to drop his hand traps, when is the crucial moment, what is the key play. Those are the things that you need to know to do well in a tournament like this against rogue decks that you don't get to see as often as Gem Knight FTK. Alright, so where does he go from here? We see normal monsters. We haven't seen those in a while.
Well, this is from the Rescue Cat that was normal summoned.
Yeah.
And I think we'll be seeing new Gem Knight Link monster coming out.
So this deck also does not have a plan B. It is a plan A, and that is it. It's plan A or the highway. I'm not sure if that's correct. So I guess plan A is the highway, and plan B is like, okay, we took a wrong turn, and now we ended up in a one-way street, and there's nowhere else to go for us.
Yeah, I would personally term it as a one-track deck.
Right, okay.
So this was a discussion that I was having at the UK National Championships. We had a traditional format tournament, and there are several different ways that you could approach that. You can either play a one-track FTK, which is just designed to FTK your opponent, or you can start doing other combo decks that have a game plan which involves battle damage if things go wrong. But
it's quite remarkable that it's like a special thing if a deck involves battle damage. That we're like at this point.
Yeah, traditional format is certainly worlds apart from Advanced Constructed right now.
Right.
There have been times where the two have got a little bit closer together, but they're very different games. I think the power level in Advanced Constructed is actually a little bit lower than we've seen in previous formats right now. We don't have the same True Draco with Masterpiece. We don't have the same Pendulum Magician with Astrograph Sorcerer.
Right.
I think if any of those decks that we saw at Bochum still existed in the state that they were then in the current metagame, then the Trickstar Sky Striker deck probably wouldn't be able to compete with that.
Right.
But because we're in such a power vacuum right now under the current card pool, these decks, it also enables some older things to be competitive. Even we see here the Gem Knight deck without its most powerful cards. I think Master Diamond was limited. And we see SPYRAL, a deck that's taken some hits, just coming sort of back through as the top competitors are brought down to its level again.
Right. So Max had the Master Diamond, used its effect, got rid of it again.
Yeah, I don't know if the life point counters on the stream are being kept entirely up to the most recent values. I know that the FTK wins through burn damage, and I don't know if any of those effects have been triggered yet.
I don't think so, without being 100% sure. I think Max is still in the assembly stage, where he's preparing all of those effects to go off. But he's at the same time, he's like explaining to his opponent, hey, this is what's coming, this is what this card is going to be doing.
Yeah, it does look like he's having to talk through exactly what's happening and explain to Usman step by step what plays he's making here, and he's talking to the judges as well as he's going.
Yeah, like no slow play to be seen here. He's going through the motions quite quickly, and obviously he's been playing this deck quite a lot. And again, we would be really surprised if he cannot wrap things up here. He's been going for like 10 minutes now? 8 minutes in his turn? Something like that?
Yeah, although this is game 2, we must remember.
Right. Yeah, no, it's not like I want to sweep that under the rug. I think he started his turn at around 32 minutes, maybe 33 or something like that. And he's still going. And he's still going strong. But he's going somewhere. He's not wandering without a plan.
And I don't think that there's really any motive, despite the fact that it's a burn damage deck, and historically people have said burn damage decks might want to run down the clock. I don't think there's any point in even trying to like space your plays out a bit here, because with 26 minutes on the clock, they're going to have loads of time for game 3 no matter what happens.
Not just that. It's also if your opponent starts with a gigantic opening, and you need apparently 10 minutes to perform all of your combos to get into the moment when you can finish the game. Okay, I guess if he only manages to get to his main phase, he's going to be fine-ish. So he's not dependent on the battle phase like other decks, but still not super easy. So Crystal Rose just got a marker here.
Yeah, Crystal Rose is a card that we've seen several times already this turn. Keeps being summoned and resummoned.
Which is interesting because it has a once per turn effect, but it's not one of those once per turn you can use the effect of Crystal Rose. It just says once per turn, so if you get rid of the card and bring it back, you can use it again.
And that sends Gem Knights or Melodious. I had no idea that there was an interaction between Gem Knight cards and Melodious.
What? Right, and there's a second fusion.
That looks like an anime card if ever I've seen one.
That is true, yeah. Yeah, I strongly agree with that. Alright. This is not a deck that I feel comfortable playing right now. So far, it still seems like there are too many things going on, too many things to keep in mind and keep track of with the repeat usages of some of these effects. But Max seems to be fairly confident what he's doing here.
Yeah.
Usman still seems a little bit nonplussed. He's like, yeah, okay, whatever. Let's see where this goes.
Well, I think Usman knows that the writing is on the wall, but recognizes with so much time that he can just wait and see what actually happens. But there we see, yep, he's seen enough.
Has he?
Yeah, they've begun side decking.
Okay, I was not sure if Max is still going for it and summoning yet another monster, but yes, you are indeed correct. Here we are with the side decking. So I think Max was explaining it. Okay, and this is where the fat lady starts to sing. This is where all of the things are falling into place, and I do my gigantic effect for infinite damage, basically. So interesting. It's weird to watch, is what I would say about the deck, to be honest.
Yeah.
It just seems to go nowhere at some point. At some point you're really like, is this leading to anything? And then all of a sudden you're like, now I pull the trigger after all of these preparations, and the opponent is like, okay, let's go to the next game. Seeing that so many monsters are switching between the field and the graveyard and back and so on, Soul Charge is probably going to be a really, really big card in that deck, isn't it?
Yeah, Soul Charge is... It's another card that's great if you draw it, but there isn't going to be any way of searching it, so it's just a matter of whether or not you happen to find it at the right moment. If we have a look at the side decks, what cards do we think we're going to be getting into here?
Well, we got more interaction in terms of hand traps with Droll Lockbird and Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit on Max's side of the field.
And potentially also evenly matched as one of the few outs to a full resolved Spiral board.
That is very much true. The other cards, Red Reboot and Twin Twisters, I don't think we're going to see those.
Red Reboot is a potential side deck if Max is fearing the Infinite Impermanence.
Okay. But do you think it pays out to add a card that is only good against one specific card, or particularly good against one specific card?
It depends whether or not you have cards in your main deck that do nothing else. So for instance, in Max's main deck we have Called by the Grave. That also takes care of the true hand traps when he's playing into them. Yeah, in fact, I think most of the cards in Max's deck are all just helping him get to his combo, so there's no easy side out there.
Yeah, I think siding is really hard in this deck, to be honest. Like, if you have so many cards that you're depending on, what is the point of having like 6 additional hand traps when you never have slots for 6 additional cards in your main deck? Which
may be why we see all 3 ofs in the side deck for Max. He will choose perhaps 1 or 2 of those cards and make 3 spaces and put in just one thing for each matchup.
Right. On the other side, it's a bit different, the picture that we see there, because we have only 3 cards that are maxed out in the side deck. Everything else is either in 2 copies or just 1 copy. So a bit more flexible approach by Usman.
Yeah, I'm not sure what approach Usman is going to be bringing to this match. A lot of the side deck isn't really going to be any use here, so Shadow Fusion package isn't going to get him anywhere. The 3rd Ash Blossom is in his side deck. I suspect we'll see that coming in. Infinite Impermanence, we know that he brought those in. The 3rd Droll and Lockbird, that will probably try and find its way into the main deck, but a lot of space for...
Right. Usman is now kicking things off with an Armageddon Knight. Haven't seen that card in the first 2 games. I think it's pretty big for him to go first, obviously, after his opponent can just FTK him on his very first turn. And what is he looking for exactly here? How does he set up to protect himself from that big play that the Gem Knight FTK deck has?
If he can build his board with the Spiral Sleeper, then he has interactions that destroy cards on the field.
That's quite interesting that the Gamma is being resolved from the very first effect. We don't see that all that often. Very often the cards hangs around a little bit longer in the hand. Would you agree with the play to use Gamma that early on the Armageddon Knight?
It entirely depends on what's in the rest of Usman's hand. We see here it has just shut down the turn entirely, which suggests that it was definitely the right time to go for it.
Yeah, but that's easy. Hindsight is 20/20.
Usman has no interaction in his hand. If Max has everything that he needs for his combo
that's
here.
A very big Rescue Rabbit.
Rescue Rabbit is almost the entirety of the FTK. I think if he has 1 additional piece, like a Gem Knight Fusion or a Brilliant Fusion already in hand.
He does not.
Okay, Block Dragon possibly is another extender that could get him there. I don't know. As I say, I've never played the deck. I don't know exactly what's needed, but I wouldn't be surprised if Rescue Cat and Block Dragon as a 2-card combo is enough.
Right. Rescue Rabbit.
Rescue Rabbit, yes.
Yeah. The cat was...
Rescue Cat's the better one.
Yeah, that is also true. It's the one that is still hiding in the back. which is one of the mottos of the weekend so far. For one of the next events, I'm gonna bring a cylinder, like a magician's hat, and then we can actually pull out hats and rabbits out of hats.
Oh, and of course, Max playing second
Cats and rabbits.
This game. He's able to do half of the work just by attacking directly with his 2 Gem Knight Garnets.
That's a big surprise. I didn't expect that, to be honest. I didn't see that coming, and maybe Usman didn't see it coming.
Well, now he only has to do half as much damage with his burn combo.
That must be much easier, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm sure with Block Dragon and resolving the effect of his Gem Knight Link monster, is it Phantom Quartz?
Yeah, Phantom Quartz.
Yes.
Yeah, we're bringing that up for you guys. Here you go.
I expect that this will be trivial for Max here.
And he's also got a lot of searching going on in that deck. It's interesting because, in a way, those effects try to make up for the inconsistencies that come. It's basically the price of having cards like Rescue Rabbit, where you have to add those normal monsters to your deck that don't really do anything on their own. Although a wise man said that some of those normal monsters are enough to beat the Trickster monsters.
Yes. Gem Knight Garnet is in fact bigger than the entire Trickstar deck.
So yeah, it's a good out in certain situations. Yeah, but notwithstanding that, there's a lot of cards in your deck that don't really do anything. We've seen that in the first game. With Max able to kick things off but having an absolutely horrendous opening hand. Does he have 2 more? No.
That's his banished pile.
Okay.
Or possibly. Yeah, I think those are all banished.
Yeah, they are. It's still interesting to see. It's quite the hand that he had there for a second.
So the effect of Block Dragon will trigger on being sent to the graveyard, searching him for a selection of rock monsters, with total level 8, I believe.
So, what is he looking for exactly? It's just combo pieces at the moment.
Crystal Rose and 2 level 3s.
So you can add up to 3 rock-type monsters from your deck to your hand whose total levels equal 8. Is the Block Dragon effect. The Lego Dragon. What some people would say. But I think licensing issues are the reason why it's not called that. Alright, so basically Usman has to rely on Max going tilt here, in a way.
I don't think Usman has a leg to stand on. He's not conceded because he has no need to concede, really. He can just sit and watch and wait.
With 16 minutes remaining in the round and him having nowhere to go, really.
He'll just sit and wait until he runs out of life points in about 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's another strategy. If Max can just manage to do a 16-minute turn, then he's also winning the game right here. I'm not suggesting that this is a viable strategy and that you should practice this at home, kids, but I'm just pointing it out.
Well, Max has no reason to wait that long.
No, he's like, I can do this quicker. Just watch me.
What are the link materials for Phantom Quartz?
You have 2 gem monsters, so this is actually
I thought he used a Crystal Rose for the link summon. Is Crystal Rose treated as a gem monster?
Crystal Rose.
I could be missing something there, but I thought that was a Crystal Rose used for the link summon.
We're gonna be asking.
What were the link materials?
We have a hotline to the judges.
Does Crystal Rose copy name?
This card's name
yes.
becomes a send monster's name.
Okay. So, yeah, on summon, it is not a gem monster, and then it becomes a gem monster once it's on the field.
So that's one of the reasons why it's so good in this deck, obviously. It's it would be a bit weird if it can actually send Gem Knight monsters to your graveyard, but then not work for the Gem archetype. Like... the judges just replied, cool, after we said, yeah, we just read the card, we're good. Toyn was like, thank you.
One of the big issues with never having seen the deck before.
Yeah. It's, but actually that's a very familiar situation for the judges because there are a couple of questions on the floor where they just point to the card text. The player reads the card again. He's like, "Oh, okay, I got it now.
Yeah.
So this is one of the reasons why the RTFC sleeves are so popular among some players.
This is time on the round. Time up. If you do not know how to proceed, stop your
So we
game
hear
and
timeout of the
contest.
main event. We're just slightly behind on the feature match here, but I don't think we will be long behind.
No, we're not going to be the reason for the delay today, or at least not in this round, which is good news. That gives all of our other commentators more time to mentally prepare for 4 p.m., which is coming up very strong. It's 3:20 at the moment, 40 more minutes until they're all going to be biting at their fingernails because England is going to be playing.
And let's hope England performs better than the UK has done in this feature match.
yeah. It's going to be. This is one of the interesting questions we asked ourselves today. It's like, what's going to happen to the viewer count in Twitch once the clock rings 4 p.m. But I think it's very fair to assume that all the British duelists are actually here this weekend, or at least many of them, with them being number 2 in the country breakdown. This might be the first time that the UK is on foreign soil and number 2 in the list of countries.
I think that's probably correct, yeah.
I could not imagine another tournament. Like any of the YCSs in Bochum, for example, number 2 should be something like the Netherlands or France because it's right next to the border.
Often even Italy has a very high showing.
Yeah, sometimes Italy is sending so many players that they are just number 2. Yeah. Might be a first. We could maybe check that. I'm not sure if we can easily get our hands on that statistics. But either way, well done, UK. All right. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. The story right now is Usman Mannan from the UK with a SPYRAL deck who is undefeated at this point in time. You can still say that for a few more minutes. It's going up against Maximilian Kempe from Germany with a Gem Knight FTK. And it just seems like Maximilian Kempe is going 2 for 2. In the second duel and the third duel, able to unleash the combo of this Gem Knight deck and possibly dealing enough damage to wrap things up here. Or not quite. I mean, they're taking down life points, but they still continue playing so far. And look at that hand with Roland Lockbird as well. Also, could be clutch here.
Would be clutch if by some miracle the game went to another time.
Right, okay. Ever the gravedigger here for your fellow UK citizens. Make sure they will let you back in after this tournament.
You can afford to lose a round. Usman's not out of the tournament.
Yeah, and I think he's got the right spirit. He's been playing in enough big events, so he's somewhat familiar with the situation, which is not my way of saying he's a bad player. But there it is, the handshake, and Maximilian Kempe won, and he seems like he almost cannot believe it. His hands were quickly folded to a little prayer going north. Let's just say north, and he's still undefeated in this tournament with his Gem Knight FTK deck. So sometimes picking one of the rogue decks proves to be the right call.
I'm sure there'll be a nasty surprise for someone else who's 4-0 going into the next round.
Oh yeah. Which reminds me of that other Twitch comment we read earlier when somebody said, just imagine you're at the European Championship, you lose your first round, you're 0-1, and then in second round you're sitting down, you're like collecting your thoughts, you're like, now I'm going to come back, I'm going to turn this whole thing around, and then you're facing down Marcello Barberi. Where you're like, okay.
Well, I guess I'll play side events.
Yeah, or the carnival events. Fortunately, there's enough in store that we got for you guys this weekend. There are 2 more guys that have something in store for you, and that are Matt and Luke. Let's hear from them for their analytics desk.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome back to the analysis desk here. Thank you very much, Ollie and Thomas. We are here with Max Kempe. Sorry if I butchered your name.
Nah, it's okay.
How was that for you?
Yeah, I was like really nervous. So
Yeah.
this deck can break a lot.
Yeah. Lots of block
You do
dragons involved.
literally play a bunch of garnets.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
the
like-
garnet deck.
I'm like really good in drawing. I'm 2, like you saw in game 1.
I don't think that's a
Yeah.
good skill to have.
No, it's not. but I'm good with it.
But I think you must have got all the drawing of garnets out of the way in the first game, because the next two games looked pretty good, right?
They were just fine, yeah. It's like a great hand if you have like Designate Called by the Grave and Rescue Rabbit or something. And a good hand was like mine, where you can play, but if your opponent has Ash, you're like lost.
It's just drag down to the grave, take a look at his hand. Oh, look, you've got nothing. This is going to be a fun turn. And then you just go ahead and FTK him. It's like, all right, let's try that again. And your Gamma in game 3, shutting him down on turn 1. You must have been like super relieved going second in game 3, right?
I was happy with my hand, which was able to do things, and the Gamma on hand.
And those two Garnets putting the work in, coming in with 2 direct attacks. It's like,
Garnet is simply the best card in my deck.
They already got half the work done before you even started your combos.
I was really afraid of evenly matched. I don't know why, but I thought the whole time the set was evenly matched, even though he would have held it.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, I can attack, but if he takes 1 Garnet, I have a problem. But yeah. But I was like panicking the whole time.
Well, I bet it's this is the first time we've had such a huge stage here at one of the events. So.
It's like really.
And you're 4-0. You're doing really well.
Yeah, like a friend of mine just invited me to the deck. He's playing it too, but he had bad luck. I'm so happy that I'm 4-0.
Yeah,
you've got 9 players.
Yeah, there's nine players playing Gem Knights that we can see. Yeah, and
I know 3 of them.
So far, they've got a 50-50 against Burning Abyss. Same with Goki, but they've been able to defeat Mermail, Paleozoic, True Draco, and World Chalice. So a lot of crazy stuff happening in the first few rounds.
World Chalice could have been me.
Okay, probably. That probably was you from an earlier round.
So why did you choose to play Gem Knight FTK in this event?
Was it purely just because your friend told you to?
I'm like really poor.
Okay.
But I don't like to invest huge amounts of money in this game.
Sure.
And I had Paleo.
That hurts me a little bit, but please continue.
So,
I get your point.
I just thought I have Gem Knight with this sweet Ulti Brilliance. And I really like this deck. I love it. But I also like Interaction. So it was the war between Interaction with Paleos and my favorite deck. And I just said, I'm here for fun.
Fun that takes you 4-0.
And for fun, I can play a maybe less consistent deck, which I really like.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot to be said about people who just pick a deck that they really enjoy playing. Because even if you don't do well in the tournament, you still had a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I often see people playing Gem Knight really wrong. I'm no exception, but I think I played the deck so often that I'm doing it mostly right, which is sadly more than I often saw.
Yeah,
so I just thought it's like these people who play Burning Abyss for 20 years.
Yep.
But worse.
Well, you must be doing pretty well at this tournament because you're 4-0.
Last night when you saw everyone playing in the lobby, did you walk past, see someone playing Gem Knights, just lean over and go, oh, that was a mistake, and then just walk off, just to mess with people?
There can only be 9 different people he could have done that to, so I'm sure we can find them again if you want to start evaluating everyone's Gem Knight plays. It's up to you.
We'll bring you up next time we have a Gem Knight commentary and be like, what's he doing wrong?
I wished... what?
Next, say if we get another Gem Knight feature and you're just up on the commentary. Okay, quick point out the mistakes.
We'll get you to talk about Gem Knight.
I don't remember what the cards do.
That would be really bad. I'm not a good player with it. When I go there and you did this wrong and this wrong. When you're nervous, I misplayed the last bit so hard. You could have done it so much better. But I was like, oh my god, he said I have to hurry up. And so it's in a feature match, you're
even more
pretty nervous. So I guess it's fine to misplay there.
Yeah.
Just relax. You won.
Yeah. You can feel better about it now. There's not going to be any more matches for you that are going to be as scary as the one you just did.
Yeah, that's right.
Actually, it'll probably be around. I'd say top 4. That'll be a scary match.
Yeah, it gets pretty scary.
That's the one where you're playing for the world slot. That's the tense one.
Yeah.
No.
All right. Well, congratulations for winning your feature match. And we're going to be right back with the next round of the European Championships 2018. Catch you guys soon.
Okay, so.